We live in a curious time, don't you think? The words lost the weight they used to carry. They come out in droves from our mouths, from cell phone screens, from speakers, but how many actually stay? We are surrounded by noise, notifications that don't stop, promises that disappear into thin air, conversations that echo without meaning. It's easy to feel lost in this whirlwind. How to find direction when everything seems so superficial? How can we show who we are without drowning in the need to shout louder? What if the answer wasn't in the words we say, but in what we choose to do with them, or even in what we don't say? Here comes something that spans more than 2,000 years of history: Stoicism. Don't think of it as a relic of old books or an exclusive club of long-bearded philosophers. Stoicism is living, practical, shaped by minds like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca to cut through the excess and reveal the essential. They knew that life is full of chaos, but also that we can choose where we put our energy. Today, this is more urgent than ever. A 2023 Pew Research study showed that 75% of people feel disconnected, even though they are more digitally connected than in any other era. We spend so much time talking, posting, seeking attention, that we forget an ancient truth. What we do carries more power than any speech. For the Stoics, courage was not about boasting opinions, but about living with dignity, often in silence. This video is an invitation to rediscover this wisdom. Let's explore together 10 Stoic lessons that can transform your life and relationships, not with pretty theories that evaporate, but with ideas you can apply today. It's not about becoming a cold statue or closing yourself off from the world. It's about finding clarity in the midst of the mess, recognizing your value without chasing applause, and building connections that have deep roots. Imagine waking up one day knowing who you are, without depending on what others think or say. This is what Stoicism promises: a steady compass for navigating a sea of modern uncertainty. So come with me on this journey. If this is your first time here, I ask you to subscribe and leave a like. This helps these reflections reach more people. Stay until the end, and you'll find tools to strengthen your plans, weather any storm, and live in a way that makes sense to you. Let's start with something that the outside world cannot give you: the certainty that your value is already there, within you. Prepare yourself for a perspective that has endured centuries and still resonates with strength. Sometimes silence speaks louder than anything. The value is in you. What if I told you that your value doesn't depend on anything that comes from outside? Not the likes that appear on the screen, not the words someone offers you, not the place you think you occupy in the world. It seems hard to believe, doesn't it? We are used to measuring who we are by what others reflect back. You post something online and wait for reactions. Someone compliments you, and suddenly the day takes on color. But the Stoics, those thinkers who faced wars, exiles, and emperors, saw it differently. For them, value is not something you earn or are handed to you on a platter. It is a flame that already exists within you, burning strong, whether the world notices it or not. Imagine a rough, precious stone thrown into the corner of a dark cave. Anyone passing by may not notice its shine. Some will stumble upon it without even stopping to look. But does that change who she is? It doesn't change anything. It remains rare, unique, carrying a value that does not depend on prying eyes. Seneca, one of the pillars of Stoicism, wrote something that spans the centuries. What matters is not being seen, but being worthy of being seen. It's not about how many people applaud you or follow you. It's about what you do when you're alone, the choices that show who you really are. That is your value. Quiet, solid, unshakable. Let's bring this to now. Today, we live in an era where validation has become almost an obsession. A 2024 Gallup study revealed that only 20% of people feel confident in their own worth without needing an external sign: a like, a comment, a pat on the back. The other 80%, we are stuck in a tiring search, trying to prove something we already carry. But the Stoics call us out of this trap. Stop for a second and think, when was the last time you did something just because it felt right? Maybe you helped someone without expecting thanks. Maybe you finished a hard job just for the pride of completing it, or said no when everyone expected a yes. This is you being worthy without needing an audience. And in relationships, this changes everything. When you understand that your value is not at stake, you stop running after people who don't see you. Imagine this: You meet someone, the conversations are good, promises appear in the air, but over time, he realizes that it's just smoke, words that don't turn into action. The impulse is to insist, seek more, try to make it work. But Stoicism pulls you back. If your value is in you, why waste energy on someone who doesn't see that? It's not being arrogant or cold. It's knowing that you are already enough, and whoever wants to stay by your side will show this with more than just pretty speeches. Here's something to take with you. Grab a piece of paper, or just think about it now, and write down 3 things that define you. Not qualities that others praise, but traits that make you feel whole. Maybe you are resilient, holding on when everything falls apart. Perhaps he is generous, giving without counting the cost. Maybe he's honest, even when the truth weighs heavily. Now live these qualities. Do something today that sets them in motion. A gesture, a decision, a step. This is how your value comes to life, not in what you are told, but in who you choose to be. This is not empty motivational talk. It's a truth the Stoics have carried for eons. You don't need the world's approval to be valuable. When you embrace this, things change. Relationships become more honest because you are not begging for acceptance. The days get lighter because you don't run after shadows. Your value is there inside you, waiting for you to stop looking for it where it has never been. And when you find it, the world starts to notice, not because you screamed, but because you just are. Limits are your strength. Have you ever stopped to think about how much you give of yourself every day? Time, energy, attention, those things that seem infinite until suddenly they're not there anymore. We live in a world that pulls everything from us. A friend who asks too much, a job that doesn't respect your space, a message that demands a response now. It's as if we are always open, always available, until there is little left for ourselves. But the Stoics, those wise men who faced hard times with their heads held high, had a different view. For them, protecting what is essential, their peace, their value, is not selfish, it's strength. And that strength starts with a simple word: limits. Imagine it as an invisible shield. It is not to keep the world away, but to decide what goes in and what stays out. The Stoics believed that we only control what is inside us. Our thoughts, our choices. The rest, it's a passing wind, and you don't need to let it knock you down. Think about a common situation. Someone calls you to do something that doesn't do you any good. A conversation that drains you. A favor that overwhelms you. The impulse is to say yes, avoid conflict, keep the peace. But what if you said no instead? Not with anger, not with drama, but with calm firmness. I can't right now, or even, that's not for me. That's the shield going up, and it's more powerful than it looks. Here's something modern science confirms: limits work. A 2024 American Psychological Association study showed that 68% of people who set clear limits felt less stress and more control over their lives. It's not just ancient philosophy, it's a tool that resonates today. Because when you protect your time and energy, you are telling the world, I value myself. And it changes how others treat you. Have you noticed how those who have no limits become a point of support for everyone? Without meaning to, you become the person who carries everything until something breaks. The Stoics knew that saying no to certain things is saying yes to yourself. And in relationships, this is even clearer. Think about someone who crosses the line. Perhaps they say something that hurts you, or ask for more than you can give. Have you ever let it go, swallowed the discomfort, just to not rock the boat? Now imagine another approach. You take a deep breath and say, respectfully but without giving in, this is not okay with me. It's not about fighting, it's about dignity. The Stoics called this living with integrity, acting in accordance with what you know is right, even if it is difficult. And the best, anyone who respects you will understand. If you don't understand, maybe you don't deserve to be around. Here's something to test. Today, choose one thing that weighs on you. A commitment, an expectation, and set a limit. It might be small, I'm not going to answer that right now, or bigger, I'm not going to get involved in this. Feel what it's like to decide for your well-being. It's not easy at first. The guilt can hit, the fear of displeasing too, but the Stoics remind you, your energy is precious and you decide where it goes. No one can take it without your permission. So, Boundaries are not walls to isolate. They are doors that you open or close with intention. They give you space to breathe, to be who you are without getting lost in what others want. It is a quiet but real force. When you start using them, you realize that you're not just protecting yourself, you're building yourself. And that, deep down, is what the Stoics wanted, a life where you are the master of your peace, not the hostage of the chaos around you. The truth is in actions. What if you stopped carrying what you can't hold? It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest things we do, or don't do. We live clinging to so many things. What others think, how they act, what the future will bring. Have you ever found yourself waiting for someone to change, hoping for a situation to turn out the way you imagine? It's like trying to hold water in your hands. It escapes, and you're left with wet fingers and a heavy heart. The Stoics, those masters of calm in the midst of chaos, had an answer for this. They said, focus on what is in your control, your mind, your choices, and let go of the rest. It's a scary relief. Think of it as a clean cut. Stoicism divides the world into two parts: what you can change and what you can't. Your actions, your thoughts, the way you react, that's yours. But what do others say, do, feel? This is theirs. Marcus Aurelius, writing on cold campaign nights, noted, "You have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Have you ever been in a relationship where you tried to fix everything? Maybe someone who moves away, or who doesn't give you what you deserve. You insist, you push, you wait, but nothing changes. The Stoics ask you, why carry this weight? Today, this is more real than ever. A 2025 YouGov study showed that 55% of people fear being alone, but 70% feel relief after leaving toxic situations. We get trapped by fear of emptiness, of change, of what if. But letting go is not weakness, it is courage. Imagine someone who disappoints you again and again. You've tried everything. Talking, waiting, giving chances, and there, nothing. Stoicism tells you, stop fighting the wind, take a step back. It's not giving up on someone continues below to live. It's choosing your peace above what doesn't depend on you. And that goes for more than relationships. Have you ever lost nights of sleep over something you couldn't change? A delay at work, bad news, a plan gone wrong. You retrace the steps in your head, as if thinking more would solve the problem. But the Stoics remind you, the past is gone. The future is not here. What you have is now, and now you can decide how to respond. Letting go is making space. Have you ever let go of a weight, maybe a habit that held you back, or an expectation that suffocated you? What did you feel afterwards? Relief, maybe even freedom. That's what Stoicism offers, a lighter path. Here's something to try. Think of something that holds you back today, a concern, a person, a plan. Ask, do I control this? If not, imagine letting go. It's not easy. Attachment is human, but visualize, what would your day be like without that weight? Maybe you breathe deeper, sleep better, laugh more. The Stoics didn't want you to turn to stone. They wanted you to live without chains. Letting go is not losing. It's about winning back what's yours. Your time, your energy, your calm. So the next time the world pulls at you, stop, breathe, ask, is this mine to carry? If not, let it go. You can't change the wind, but you can adjust the sails. Have you ever tried to hold on to someone who doesn't want to stay, or fix what doesn't break? Let go. What stays is what matters, and what goes away was never yours. The Stoics knew life is too short to carry the uncontrollable. Choose what is yours, and let the rest take its course. This is how you find real strength. Let go of what you don't control. What if you stopped carrying what you can't hold? It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest things we do or don't do. We live clinging to so many things, what others think, how they act, what the future will bring. Have you ever found yourself waiting for someone to change, hoping for a situation to turn out the way you imagine? It's like trying to hold water in your hands. It escapes, and you're left with wet fingers and a heavy heart. The Stoics, those masters of calm in the midst of chaos, had an answer for this. They said, focus on what is in your control, your mind, your choices, and let go of the rest. It's a scary relief. Think of it as a clean cut. Stoicism divides the world into two parts: what you can change and what you can't. Your actions, your thoughts, The way you react, that's yours. But what do others say, do, feel? This is theirs. Marcus Aurelius, writing on cold campaign nights, noted, "You have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Have you ever been in a relationship where you tried to fix everything? Maybe someone who moves away or who doesn't give you what you deserve. You insist, you push, you wait, but nothing changes. The Stoics ask you, why carry this weight? Today, this is more real than ever. A 2025 YouGov study showed that 55% of people fear being alone, but 70% feel relief after leaving toxic situations. We get trapped by fear of emptiness, of change, of what if. But letting go is not weakness, it is courage. Imagine someone who disappoints you again and again. You've tried everything, talking, waiting, giving chances, and there, nothing. Stoicism tells you, stop fighting the wind. Take a step back. It's not giving up on someone, continues below to live. It's choosing your peace above what doesn't depend on you, and that goes for more than relationships. Have you ever lost nights of sleep over something you couldn't change? A delay at work, bad news, a plan gone wrong. You retrace the steps in your head, as if thinking more would solve the problem. But the Stoics remind you, the past is gone, the future is not here. What you have is now, and now you can decide how to respond. Letting go is making space. Have you ever let go of a weight? Maybe a habit that held you back, or an expectation that suffocated you. What did you feel afterwards? Relief, maybe even freedom. That's what Stoicism offers, a lighter path. Here's something to try. Think of something that holds you back today. A concern, a person, a plan. Ask, do I control this? If not, imagine letting go. It's not easy. Attachment is human. But visualize, what would your day be like without that weight? Maybe you breathe deeper, sleep better, laugh more. The Stoics didn't want you to turn to stone. They wanted you to live without chains. Letting go is not losing. It's about winning back what's yours, your time, your energy, your calm. So the next time the world pulls at you, stop, breathe, ask, is this mine to carry? If not, let it go. You can't change the wind, but you can adjust the sails. Have you ever tried to hold on to someone who doesn't want to stay, or fix what doesn't break? Let go. What stays is what matters, and what goes away was never yours. The Stoics knew life is too short to carry the uncontrollable. Choose what is yours, and let the rest take its course. This is how you find real strength. Say no with courage. Saying no is difficult, isn't it? It seems we have been trained to please, to give in, to keep everything in harmony. Someone asks you for something, and even though it hurts, you swallow the yes as if it were a reflex. A friend insists on a favor that exhausts you. A colleague pushes a task that isn't yours. Or someone pressures you to ignore what you believe. The no gets stuck in the throat, suffocated by the fear of disappointing, of appearing selfish, of rocking the boat. But the Stoics, those who took empires in their stride, saw it differently. For them, saying no is not rude. It is courage. It's a quiet cry of integrity, a way of honoring who you are. Think of it as a shield that you put up. It's not about rejecting on a whim, but about protecting what matters. Your values, your time, your peace. The Stoics believed that living well is living according to what you know is right, and sometimes that means drawing the line. Imagine a situation. Someone invites you to something that goes against what you believe. Maybe it's gossip that bothers you, or a plan that forces you to give up something essential. Yes would be easy. Avoid friction. Keep the smile. But what then? You are left with that weight, that feeling of having betrayed yourself. Saying no, even if it's shaking, is choosing you, and that has real power. A 2024 American Psychological Association study showed that saying no to unnecessary demands reduces stress by 40%. It's not just philosophy, it's health. Because every no you say to what diminishes you is a yes to what builds you up. Have you ever been in a moment where giving in left you empty? Maybe you accepted something just to please, and then wondered why. The Stoics tell you, you don't need to carry this. Saying no is an act of respect for yourself and ultimately for others, because it shows where you really stand. In relationships, this shines even more. Think about someone who pressures you, maybe a friend who always asks for more than you can give, or someone who wants you to change who you are. The constant yes wears you down. turns you into an echo of what you were. Now imagine saying, "No, that doesn't work for me." Not angry, but calmly, firmly. The Stoics called this virtue, acting with courage, even if the heart races. Whoever values you will respect you. Those who don't respect you may never have really seen you. And that's okay. You don't need them all. Here's something to test. Today, find a moment to say no. It can be small. "I'm not going to answer that right now." Or big. "I'm not going to get involved in that." Feel what happens. Guilt may come, the fear of displeasing too. But notice, then comes relief, a strength that grows. The Stoics knew that no is not an end. It is a beginning. It's you taking the reins, deciding what deserves your yes. It's not about being tough, it's about being honest. So the next time the world pulls at you, stop. Ask, does this align with who I am? If not, say no. There's no need to shout. Courage speaks quietly, but echoes far away. Have you given in too much and lost your way? Saying no brings you back. The Stoics lived like this, firm in their principles, free from the burden of pleasing everyone. It's a power you already have. Use it. Saying no is saying yes to your own life. Observe clearly. Have you ever fallen into the trap of fancy words? They come like music. Promises that warm, compliments that raise, plans that paint a perfect future. It's easy to get carried away. Close your eyes and believe, even when something deep down whispers, be careful. We live in a world where talking is easy, where people say what you want to hear, and we so want it to be true. But the Stoics, those who weathered storms with their feet on the ground, had a remedy for this: healthy skepticism. It's not being cold or suspicious of everything. It's opening your eyes, observing clearly and letting actions, not words, show the way. Think of it as a lens that you adjust. The Stoics valued reason over impulse, logic over charm. Epictetus, a former slave turned master of philosophy, said, "First, tell yourself what you want to be, then do what you have to do." This starts with looking beyond what they tell you. Imagine someone new in your life. Conversations flow, promises shine, you already see a bond forming. But what if, instead of diving in, you waited a bit? Watch what happens when the lights go out. Words are just the beginning. What comes after is what counts, and the numbers show why this matters. A 2024 Harvard Review study revealed that 60% of people trust relationships too quickly, only to be disappointed when actions don't follow suit. Have you been there? Someone tells you, "I'll be there," or "You're special," but when push comes to shove, where is that? The Stoics tell you, don't rush. See how they act on a daily basis, whether they do what they say, whether they show up when it matters. It's not about doubting everything, but about giving time for the truth to reveal itself. Clarity comes slowly, but it comes surely. This also looks inside. How many times have you promised yourself something, "I'll change that tomorrow," and left the plan in a drawer? The words you say to yourself can deceive you as much as those of others. The Stoics call you to align what you think with what you do. Have you noticed how easy it is to deceive yourself with good intentions? You swear you'll take care of yourself, but you put it off again. To observe clearly is to be honest. Are your actions telling you what you want to hear, or are they showing something else? In relationships, this lens is gold. Think of someone who enchants you with perfect lines. The heart races, hope grows. But what about the gestures? Do they support you when you fall, or do they only show up when the sun shines? The Stoics tell you, wait, see. It's not being cynical, it's being wise. Have you ever trusted too quickly and fallen into a hole? Clarity holds you before you fall, and when you observe, you find those who are worth it, those who show, not just tell. It's a fair trade. Time for truth. Here's something to test. Take a day to look closely. Choose someone, a friend, a colleague, and pay attention. Does what they say match what they do? And you, are your words turning into footsteps or just echoes? It's not to judge, it's to understand. The Stoics lived like this, eyes open, hearts firm, because words can dance, but actions don't lie. Take a step back, breathe, observe. The truth doesn't scream, it appears for those who know how to wait. This is how you cut through the noise and find what's real. Accept the imperfect. What if perfection was the enemy in real life? We chase it as if it were a trophy. The perfect day, the flawless relationship, the self that never makes mistakes. But have you ever stopped to think about how tiring it is? You demand from yourself, from others, from the world, and in the end, you are left with a void that you cannot explain. The Stoics, those who saw life as it is, had another idea. They said, accept the imperfect, not because it's easier, but because it's true. Everything, you, me, whoever is next to you, is a mix of successes and stumbles, and it is in this mess that beauty lives. Think of it as embracing what you can't fix. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, wrote, "Do not demand that things be as you wish, but desire them as they are." It seems hard, but it's freeing. Imagine someone in your life, a friend, a relative, someone you care about. They have flaws, right? Sometimes they forget, sometimes they irritate, sometimes they fail. Have you tried to change that? Mold them into what you think is ideal, and what was left? Frustration, perhaps. Now imagine accepting that's who they are, and that's okay. It's not giving up, it's seeing their humanity, warts and all. And this isn't just for others. Look at you. How many times have you charged yourself for a mistake because it wasn't enough? A day that didn't go as planned, a word that escaped, a step that didn't take. The Stoics tell you, you are human, not a statue. Accepting your imperfections is not about settling, it's about freeing yourself to grow. A 2023 Psychology Today study showed that relationships based on authenticity, where flaws are accepted, last 30% longer. Why? Because no one can pretend forever. Truth unites more than perfection. In relationships, this is a turning point. Have you ever fought with someone over something small, expecting them to be impeccable? Or have you walked away because you couldn't stand the flaws? Now think differently. What if you forgave a mistake? Don't ignore, but understand they make mistakes like you make mistakes. Imagine a friend who forgot a plan. You could hold a grudge, or you could say, okay, it happens. The Stoics saw this as strength, letting go of the demanding and embracing the real. Have you done this? The bond becomes stronger because it is honest, not forced, and on a daily basis this changes the game. Have you ever been frustrated by a delay, a failed plan, a mistake at work? We fight against what we cannot control, as if we could make the world right. But accept it. Life is crooked. A bad day doesn't define you. A stumble doesn't break you. The Stoics call you to flow with it. Laugh at the chaos, learn from the fall. Have you ever let something imperfect run its course? Maybe you felt peace, even in the midst of the mess. Here's something to try. Today, see an imperfection, yours or someone else's, and accept it. Maybe you drop something, and instead of cursing, take a breath and move on. Or someone disappoints you, and you choose to understand instead of judge. Feel what it's like. The Stoics knew, fighting the imperfect is losing before you start. Acceptance is where growth lives. It's not about letting your guard down, it's about raising your eyes to life as it is. Are you tired of chasing the impossible? Stop. The imperfect is where the real happens, and that's where you find what's worth. Love without conditions. Love is easy when everything shines, isn't it? Someone supports you, praises you, and the feeling flows like water in a calm river. But what happens when the river dries up, when failures appear, errors weigh heavily, and what you get is not what you expected? The Stoics saw love differently, not as an exchange, but as a choice. To love without conditions is to give without counting the cost, to be present without demanding a return. It's not about what they offer you, but about what you offer. Have you thought about that? A love that does not depend on perfection, that lives in the essence, not on the surface. It's rare, but the Stoics said, this is how love becomes strength, not weakness. Think of it as a flame that won't go out. Seneca, one of the pillars of Stoicism, suggested that virtue lies in acting well, even without reward. Loving like this is pure virtue. You support someone silently, forgive a mistake without fuss, celebrate a success without envy. Have you done this? Maybe you helped a friend in a crisis, knowing they couldn't reciprocate, or let a grudge go just because it was right. This love doesn't wait for applause, it exists because you chose it to exist. The Stoics believe that it elevates you, connects you to what is most human. It is a bond that does not bind but frees, because it does not live under conditions, and the numbers show the value of this. A 2024 Pew Research study revealed that 82% of people say that unconditional support is what they value most in relationships. It's not the expensive gift, the nice word. It's actually being there. Have you ever felt this? Someone who stood by you when you had nothing to give, or you being that someone, holding a hand without asking for anything in return. This is Stoic love. It doesn't bargain, it doesn't calculate. It's compassion that doesn't look at the score. In a world of exchanges where everything has a price, loving like this is almost rebellious. A choice to give because it is who you are. In relationships, this changes the ground you walk on. Imagine someone who makes a bad mistake, hurts you, disappoints you. The impulse is to turn away, demand justice. But what if you stayed, not out of weakness, but out of strength, forgiving because he understands that making mistakes is human? Have you ever experienced this? Maybe you held on to a friendship that almost broke, or gave someone space to rise up. The Stoics saw this as a quiet power, to love beyond the ego, beyond what is owed to you. It's not being stupid, it's being great. And when you love like this, others feel it. Anyone who has ever received this love knows it's the kind that stays, that builds bonds deeper than any perfection. In everyday life, this is practice. It's not just about big things, it's about small gestures. Have you ever smiled at someone who didn't deserve it, just out of kindness? Have you ever let a mistake go by without pointing the finger? This is loving without conditions, letting go of the need to control, to win. The Stoics tell you, you lose nothing by doing so. Have you tried? Maybe you helped a stranger without expecting a thank you, or celebrated a colleague without jealousy. The world doesn't pay you for it, but you feel the return, a peace that comes from within. It is the love that does not depend on the other to exist, that lives in your choice to be more, not less. Here's something to test. Today, love without waiting. Choose someone, a friend, a family member, and give something of yourself. Time, a gesture, a forgiveness. Don't ask for anything back. Feel what it's like. You may notice resistance. The ego wants return, it wants balance. But the Stoics tell you, let it go. Have you ever loved someone just for their essence, without counting the points? That's when love becomes unconditional. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real. In a world that demands everything, choosing to love like this is an act of courage. The Stoics lived this, giving without strings attached, because the value is in giving, not in receiving. Love like this, and see what grows. Long live virtue. What if life was simpler than it seems? It's not about having everything or pleasing everyone, but about being who you really are. The Stoics believed this. Virtue, for them, was the heart of a good life. Honesty, courage, justice, wisdom. These are not nice words to decorate a speech. These are choices you make every day. Have you ever thought about what guides your actions? You wake up, face the world, make decisions. Some fill you with pride, others leave you with a knot in your chest. The Stoics say, live what is right, not what is easy. This does not promise riches or applause, but something greater, a peace that no one can take away. Marcus Aurelius, that philosopher-emperor, wrote something that resonates to this day. Little is needed for a happy life. Everything is in your mind. He ruled an empire, but he knew that true strength comes from within. That's what virtue is, acting with integrity, even when no one sees it. Have you ever done something just because it was fair? Maybe he returned something lost, or told the truth when lying would be simpler. These moments define you. It's not about perfection, but about consistency. The Stoics call you to this, to be true to yourself, day by day, step by step. Today, the world is pulling in the other direction. Social networks measure value in likes, success in numbers. A 2024 Gallup study showed that 65% of people feel pressure to appear more than they are. But virtue does not play that game. She asks you, are you honest when no one looks? Are you fair when you could win by cheating? Have you ever been in a situation where giving in was tempting but you stood your ground? That's what counts. The Stoics saw life as a legacy, not a race. What you leave behind is who you were. In relationships, virtue shines brightly. Think about someone you care about. Have you ever been true to this person, even if it hurt? Have you chosen to listen instead of judge? This is loving with courage, acting with justice. The Stoics knew that real bonds come from authenticity, not facade. Have you ever seen someone open up because you were honest first? Or have you secured a friendship with patience, not demands? Virtue builds bridges that the ego never reaches. It's not about being the best, but about being real. with those who are by your side. In everyday life, this is living practice. No need for big gestures. Have you ever said no to gossip? Have you ever worked hard without fanfare? These are the building blocks of virtue. The Stoics tell you, start small, but start now. Have you ever tried to live a day with only what is right? Maybe you help someone without expecting anything, or face a fear without running away. The world doesn't notice, but you feel it. It is a strength that grows within, a calm that cannot be explained. Virtue is not theory, it is action. So here is the final invitation. Live virtue today. Choose one thing, honesty, courage, any trait that elevates you, and put it into practice. Feel what it's like. Have you ever lived like this and seen the day change? The Stoics closed with this: be the best you, and the rest will follow. If this made sense, comment virtue, like, subscribe. Want more? The ebook Stoic Art. It's at the link below. Live what is yours and leave a legacy that speaks for you. Virtue is what remains. We've reached the end of a journey, haven't we? An hour ago, we started with a simple idea. Silence can speak louder than noise. The Stoics guided us through 10 lessons, each a step on a path that cuts through the chaos. Did you ever feel this throughout the video? Maybe you saw your value shine without needing applause, or realized that limits are strength, not weakness. Perhaps you've noticed that actions weigh more than words, and that letting go of the uncontrollable makes room for peace. These ideas are not new, but they are timeless. They have endured for centuries because they speak to who we are, what we can be, if we choose to listen. Think about everything we touch here. You learn to say no with courage, to observe clearly before trusting, to accept the imperfect as part of life. Love without conditions became an invitation, not an obligation, and virtue revealed itself to be the thread that sews everything together. The Stoics, from Marcus Aurelius to Seneca, didn't want to give you rules. They wanted to give you tools. Can you imagine using this tomorrow? Waking up knowing that your day doesn't depend on what others throw at you, but on what you do with what's inside. This is the Stoic path, and it is open to you. The world outside didn't change while we watched. Notifications still flash, promises still echo, noise still tries to pull you in. But you have changed, even if just a little. A 2024 APA study showed that 72% of people who apply reflective practices feel more control over their lives. This isn't magic, it's choice. Have you ever felt a weight lift off your shoulders today? Maybe when thinking about what to release, or when deciding to live a virtue. The Stoics tell you, this is yours. No one gives you this calm, you build it step by step. And now what next? These lessons are not meant to stay here, stored in a corner of the mind. They call for action. Have you ever experienced anything like this before? A day when you were honest with yourself, or when you let the imperfect be without fighting against it? Take this and carry it forward. Stoicism is not an end. It is a beginning. Imagine a week living like this, valuing what is yours, protecting your peace, loving without strings attached. It's not about being perfect, but about being real. The Stoics knew that life is short, and what matters is how you get through it. So here's the last invitation. Do something with it. Today, tomorrow, choose one of these ideas and live it. Maybe notice someone clearly or say no without guilt. Feel what it's like. You've already finished this video, and that's one step. Congratulations for staying this far, for giving yourself this time. If this made sense, leave a comment with resilience, like, subscribe. Want to go deeper? The ebook Stoic Art. It's at the link below, full of ways to apply all of this. Your journey doesn't stop here, it begins. The Stoic path is yours now. It's not about big promises or changes that the world notices. It's about you, quiet, steady, being who you can be. Have you ever looked back and seen how much you grew in one day? That's what the Stoics hand you, a life worth it in itself. Take this with you and see what happens. Virtue does not scream but resonates. Live it, and the rest falls into line. Thanks for being here, and see you next time.